It's awesome to see everyone back in person. It's been way too long. Just having some normalcy here at Halas is energizing for everyone. I hope you guys feel that too. We've had the rookies and the quarterback, it's a couple of the injured guys in the past 4 days. Obviously, the vets are arriving as we speak. It's exciting to have everyone camp here at Halas. It's exciting to have our fans, our players feel it, our staff feels it. It's just an awesome time here right now. We entered this training camp with a lot of competition throughout our team. There's a good mix of proven veteran players, established guys, combined with some young emerging talent we're really excited about. It's also exciting to see Matt's coaching staff coming together, the continuity we have on the offensive side of the ball, Sean Desai on the defensive side of the ball, and some of the new wrinkles he's going to bring is exciting to see. And again, we can't wait to get started this camp. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's been way too long. I'm sure our fans feel the same way. So with that, we'll take any questions.
Do you guys have an idea, Ryan, as far as how many players are going to be vaccinated? And the plan you're going to put in place to monitor all that?
Yeah, Jeff, we feel really good about it. The way it's gone, the way it's trending. Our staff has done an awesome job, starting with Matt, communicating with our players, educating our players. So we feel good about that 85% number. I know that gets brought up a lot, and just the direction that's heading. So we feel good about it.
Are you at 85% yet?
I believe we are right now. Yeah, there's some coming in right now as we speak, but we feel pretty confident with that. Yes.
Ryan, you guys have obviously put a lot of time into your developmental plan for Justin. What do you see as the biggest advantages to giving him more time to learn and a longer on-ramp, I guess, to becoming a starter in the league?
Yeah, it's just there's so many things, Dan. And just learning the offense, learning the different defenses that he's going to face, learning behind two other veteran quarterbacks. It's been awesome to see that whole room. I know we talk about it a lot, but with Andy and with Nick, and it's just such a great room to go into with the experiences they have. And every day we feel like Justin's getting better with this experience, and it's still early, but we just got to let that play out.
In what you saw out of Justin in the spring, how would you describe his presence as he kind of gets used to this new role, I guess?
Yeah, he just has a natural confidence to him, a natural inner confidence, I think, that comes with the success he's had, probably going back from high school into college. And so he just it's a good balance of inner confidence without being having a huge ego.
Now, with your players who are not vaccinated, what is your role? Do you try to encourage them to get vaccinated? Do you back off at some point?
No, I think what we did, Pat, is we really went through this process and lived by the encourage and educate, and try to let them understand the why part. If they understand the why part, then it's their choice, it's their opinion. And as we all see, everyone has different opinions on what they want to do. But if we just tell them, hey, listen, for these different reasons, it can be a lot more convenient, from the football world. And for these reasons, it can be really good for you health-wise. And then they got to make their decision, and that's kind of what we've done.
Just in terms of having to get tested every day, when you talk about convenience, that's what you mean, having to wear your mask in the building.
Yeah, I mean, it's really everything that everybody went through last year in 2020. We were all a little bit inconvenienced because we had to. Now with the new rules, if you get vaccinated, it's different. And so it is a little, quote unquote, easier for you if you are vaccinated. But there's so many different things that go into it. And we just, hey, listen, educate them, and then they make their own decision.
Coach, I know you sent your quarterbacks away with some homework in the camp. You talked about with Justin, sort of rehearsing those calls into a phone and sending them to you guys, and I'm assuming the same for Andy. Can you give us some specifics on how that went and where they're at as you get started tomorrow on the field?
Sure, absolutely. I think Coach Flip did a wonderful job this offseason of giving them those homework assignments as to making sure that they're really studying what we did in OTAs. Specifically for Justin, being able to, as you all know, you've heard me talk about it, is making sure that he can get through a huddle call the right way, get to the line of scrimmage the right way, call the play and make plays. What I can tell you now that we've had 3 days of being together in rookie camp is I was really impressed with the way that Justin came back from OTAs until these last 3 days of in and out of the huddle and seeing things. You could see he did his homework. With Nick and with Andy, same thing. They weren't in here today for practice, but they were the last two. Again, just having those couple months of OTAs and being here, you could see coming back, things are just a lot crisper, and that part I love.
How much of the plan for Justin is perhaps a test of your patience as well, as you try to be patient, but also temper your excitement with everything he's doing?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question in the fact, because there is excitement. We understand who he is and what he can do, but we have to have a little bit of patience too with how we do it. The best part of all of this is that there's a lot of open communication that goes on amongst us as coaches and those three quarterbacks. We're very open with each other. So we talk about how things are going to go. We talk about what the expectations are in that room. We talk about, how we want to see their growth. As coaches, all of those guys, we want to be able to see this offense get better. And however that happens, we're challenging all three of those quarterbacks to be the best that they can be so that can help our offense be better.
Ryan, with the Anthony Miller trade, where was the line for you between holding out hope that he would turn a corner in terms of being more reliable and realizing it was time to move on and cut your losses?
Yeah, Jason, I've done a lot of trades with Nick Casario over the years. So that communication kind of went on throughout the summer. And for us, it just became a situation where, hey, both parties can benefit, and once I realized, we could get a 5th-round pick out of this, we've had a lot of success in that area of the draft. So, and I think also we feel good about the receiver room that we have, that we've kind of built. So there's a lot of competition there. So it all kind of connected together where the timing was right, and we wish him nothing but the best, and we're moving forward.
Do you think Tariq Cohen will be able to participate in this camp?
Yeah, with Tariq, so obviously starting off on PUP, it allows us to kind of bring him along at the right rate. He's been working his tail off. I mean, he's here every single day grinding, so it just allows us to kind of take our time as he continues to rehab. So we'll see where that goes, but with him on PUP, we don't have to rush into anything.
Back to Anthony for a second. Why do you think he didn't become the player that you thought he was when you drafted him?
There's so many things that go into it, there's so many factors that go into it, and, he's a talented player that's had a lot of production in this league, and again, with us drafting him, we want to see him go on and have success, we want to see that, and, he told Matt and I on the phone, I want to make you guys proud, so as we made that trade, the communication was good, we exited on good terms, and I just hope it's a situation, and I think it will be a situation that's good for all parties.
We didn't see Robert Quinn do anything in the spring. Will he be practicing tomorrow? And you guys announced the 2 PUP guys. Do you have any other guys that could be PUP or NFI?
Yeah, we'll see today as we go through those physicals right now. I'm thinking we're pretty good on that front, Brad. But Robert's been here the last couple of days as he came in early, and he's looked good. So he's been working hard. He's looked good. Bill Shuey's doing a great job with him. So you'll see him out practice when you guys can get out there, and we feel good about him right now.
Matt, competition seems to be a theme this camp. Can you tell us who's competing with Kevin Jenkins at left tackle? What would be the backup plan, assuming that Kevin is the starter?
Yeah, so Elijah Wilkinson is a guy that we brought in that has some experience as a starter at other organizations, and I thought he had a really good OTAs, just kind of coming in and learning again. These guys, some of these O-linemen, when they come in and learn through Coach Castillo, he has some different techniques and fundamentals that you all have heard us talk about. So sometimes that takes a little bit to learn, and those guys have done a good job of doing that. So that's really where we're at there. Obviously, we have other guys, more depth, and that competition for us is, we were just talking about it the last couple of days, is we feel like, since we've been together, that competition across the board on offense, defense, special teams is pretty much at an all-time high now, and that's going to be a big one there at left tackle.
What have been your impressions of Tevin to this point? And when the pads come on, obviously you can evaluate a lot easier. What are you looking to see from him that you want to see for him to earn a starting job? So,
Larry, the pads is the biggest thing. It's so hard in OTAs to see these offensive linemen. There's very limited run game. It's heavy pass. You can't really, with all the rules, you can only do so much with the first 3 steps off the ball. You can't collision and all that. So the pads is going to tell us a lot. There's going to be times where he gets beat off the edge by, Robert or Khalil. That's going to happen. But does he bounce back, and is he working on his technique and fundamentals? You got to be mentally tough in this game. And so mentally, can he rebound from that? Physically, where are you out health-wise? Can you take care of your body, or are you investing in your body? Because it's a very valuable position that he knows that we're going to give him a great shot to do some good things.
Matt, as you wrestle with what preseason games can be for you, and you've wrestled with this over the last couple of years, I think, how do those factor into the plan for Justin in these first couple of months? Do you expect to test him out a lot in those games, or what?
Yeah, I think, Jason, that as you all know, I've gone kind of back and forth. The 1 year was very more conservative. Then I was going to be more aggressive. It didn't happen. My mindset has shifted more towards the aggressiveness this year with preseason. I mean, one thing I took away from all of this is that, being able to evaluate players. The preseason is real. You have real tackling. You have real situations. It's hard in these other times in the offseason to evaluate talent. So I think right now, too, if our definition of where we're at right now is competition, which was what we believe, and the only way to sort that competition out is being able to do that in preseason games. So that's everybody. When you get specifically to the quarterback and to Justin, again, we're excited to see what he can do in real situations. And that's a part of the evaluation process that you all keep hearing me talk about is we'll know and we'll see it. And it's, so in preseason, he's going to get a healthy amount of reps, and we're going to be able to see what he can do. But at the same point in time, Andy needs that too. This is his first time here in this offense and working with these players and timing. So we got to be delicate with the balance of how we do it. But there's going to be plenty of reps to go around for those guys.
For clarification on him, you have him as the number 2 quarterback?
Who's that?
Justin.
Yes.
If your goal is to avoid having to rush him in, why do you have him at 2 instead of 3?
Why do we have him at 2 versus? Well, he'll get more reps. Yeah, it's more for reps. Yeah.
Coach,
Yep.
what parts of your offense do you see Andy shining
The number one thing that I see is the anticipatory throws. So in the passing game, Andy has all the leadership stuff. He has the stuff that you look for where you break a huddle, it's a little sloppy, it doesn't go right. He gets everybody back in, says, no, do it again, let's go. You do this, you do that, let's roll. He has that. That's easy. The football part that I see is his timing pre-snap of when he calls, with motion shifts, adjustments, stuff like that. But then when the play's going, anticipatory throws, man, those wideouts know that ball is coming regardless of the coverage. He knows where to go, and you better get your head around.
Has Eddie Goldman reported yet, and what kind of football shape is he in?
We're going through that like literally as we speak.
All indications that we have is that he's in good shape. He's been working hard. So.
What's the dialogue been with him throughout the course of since the off-season program?
It's been pretty constant with him and his agent. Text here, phone call here. So it's been pretty good. You guys know Eddie's pretty quiet. But that dialogue's been ongoing.
Ryan, you've gotten to know Sean since you've been here. I'm curious what you see in this new role for him. His strengths are as a coordinator, and what gives you confidence in his ability to kind of unify the group.
I'm so excited for him, Dan, and proud of him and the path that he's taken and the time that he's bide. And he's highly intelligent, that. He's really creative with what we do on defense. He communicates really well with the players. One of his greatest strengths is he's extremely organized, like the details, and he's organized. I can feel that in personnel meetings. I can feel that through the draft. So just his intelligence and his organization skills, and then just some of the creative things that he's going to bring, because he's such a bright mind, such a bright young mind. He can relate to everyone, all the staff, veteran players, young players. So he's a really, really good young coach.
You believed very strongly in him when they were together. Do you see his influence in Sean in some ways, the fingerprints, the things that Vic did that Sean has adapted?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'll joke with Sean about that. He'll say something and it'll sound just like Vic, But yeah, definitely. And I think that's a really good thing. And they still talk, and that's a mentor for him that I think we all have in this league, and that's been a really good one for Sean.
Ryan, what has been your reaction to, I guess, all of our reaction and fans' reaction to Justin Fields and attempting to temper that for all of us?
I mean, I like the excitement. I can feel it, from the fans and from you guys and in our building. And anytime we add a player that kind of brings some juice and excitement, that's good for all of us. And it's rightfully so, right? So now it's on us to kind of insulate him and handle this the right way in a big market. And I think we will. We got not only the coaching staff but the other support staff in our building. We communicate on a daily basis, and I think we got a good plan to do that.
Right. Can Kendall push for the starting job at corner, and how did you evaluate him last year? He had, 125 snaps or thereabout?
That was kind of the bright side of that, Brad, is he got a lot of valuable play time down the stretch, and he definitely can push for the starting job. He has that kind of ability. He looked really good this offseason. When I think about these young emerging players on our team, he's definitely one of them, and he's such a pro. The way he prepares and the way he goes about his daily plan, and he's a talented player that we were really excited to get in that area of the draft. and the sky's the limit for them.
Matt, beyond the number 2 reps for Justin, can you elaborate on maybe the ways you'll challenge him and test them, maybe on and off the field as you go through this play? Maybe some of the things we may not see.
Yeah, a lot of it, more so, Adam, is just the stuff that Flip does behind the scenes with the different tests that he gives. When they're watching tape and going through different coverages, trying to understand post-snap what teams are showing, fronts. And but really, in the end, when it comes down to it, are you making plays now in the team periods, in 7-on-7 in training camp, the reps that we get in the team periods, situationally, where are you situationally? So that's probably the biggest test, and then the rest of it is just kind of more of what every quarterback coach does in the league, and what Justin's going to have to do along with Nick and Andy.
Ryan, your vision for having a full training camp here in Lake Forest goes back a few years. The adding on to this building, getting fans in here. I know you got a taste of it last year, but what are you, I guess, most excited to see over the next few weeks? And I guess specifically, how do you think that this setting is going to help the team?
We invest so much in this facility, right, and all these state-of-the-art resources, and it's here for one thing, to make our players better, right? We acquire the right players, and it's developing them once they're here. And we're lucky that our ownership has given us all these assets to do that. So from the training room to the weight room to things we do with recovery to nutrition, it's all right here. We have one of the top facilities in the NFL, and our players will be able to utilize that probably in one of the, you look at the timeline of a season, this is one of the most taxing times on their body. So to be able to have all this at our disposal for them to recover, it's huge. And so now it's about, it's important for us to have our fans in here and maximizing that. And it's pretty tight back there, and getting creative with how we're doing that. So it's kind of a balance, but this is great for our players, but also we want to make a great experience for our fans and trying to accomplish that. Another thing we're excited about is the Dolphins coming up here. Having camp here at Halas, with our fans, and then having another team come in here, that's extremely valuable. We talk about only having 3 preseason games, but having another team come in here, Dan's going to be valuable for evaluating our own roster and honestly their roster too.
Matt, why the Dolphins? Why did you connect with them and schedule a like that?
Yeah, a lot of times, whether it's Ryan and other general managers, whether it's head coaches, they'll just kind of look at sometimes the facilities, the climate. Are you a southern team that's coming up north, get out of the hot? Does it work? Does it not? Do you have relationships? You see some teams that have connections with each other. So I don't know if there's a specific reason why, other than it worked for both sides. And matter of fact, I think I'm not correct. I think Miami might even have another one after us or something. So that's just kind of how it went.
I think it's amazing to have 5 100-yard grass fields. If you think about it, we got 4 100-yard grass fields, and we got the indoor. So we have a lot of space here to handle another team.
Matt, you had the best kickoff returner in the league the last 2 years. Who's in the mix? Who do you want to see first?
Yeah, that's what Coach Taves is going through right now. Cordero has been an unbelievable asset for us when he's been here. He's a lot of fun to coach, but again, it's part of this league is staying and leaving sometimes. But for us, that's going to be an open competition, and whether it's a guy like Khalil Herbert that comes in and has an opportunity, or some of these other guys that I know Taves has on a list that we're going to start to see what they can do. But that's a big part of what we got to figure out. Who is it, and then obviously. Just let it go, man. Let it be open and let them have fun.
Matt, you're saying there's going to be plenty of reps for Justin Fields in preseason games. What if he goes out and just crushes it? Is there anything he...
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Could he convince you, if he's getting lots of reps and playing really well, could he convince you he's the right guy to start, or is that him?
There's for Justin, for Andy, for Nick, their job is to go into this thing and do exactly what you just said, is just dominate. And then for all of us to make it as hard as you possibly can at every position. And so we don't even get into that part of it. We just say, listen, go play ball, be the best you can be. And trust me, just like everybody in here in our city, I want Justin Fields to be electric. That's what we all want. But for us, we're worried about today. That's all we can. And y'all saw that Giannis, that little quote he said. I mean, that's going up in all 4 of my kids' bedrooms, because we can't worry about the past. You can't worry about the future. We're going to worry about right now, today. That's all we can do. So that kind of falls into what you're asking.
Matt, have you seen any parallels to, not to compare players, but the way Patrick worked his rookie season?
I would say this. I would say for me, because we all have different places that we've been at, and I happened to fortunately be in that role. This year, for the role I'm in now as a head coach and seeing where Justin's at and his development as a rookie, if you ask me that question versus where Patrick was, I think that Justin has done everything he possibly can from what we've asked of him. So it's the same as what we asked at that time with Patrick, and just continue to grow every day. And then when you get up, like today we didn't have Nick and Andy weren't here today. It was just Justin for the rookies, and he came out and he got every rep, and he had a great day, And so when I see him in the lunch line here a little bit ago, and I say, hey, today was a good day. You did everything that we asked you to do. He took advantage of it. So we just put a little check mark, good day, and that's how that's a good thing.
Matt, people latched on to your comment about getting Montgomery 20 carries.
Yeah.
Is that doable? And if it is doable, how is that going to help offensively this year?
No, I think it's very doable, and I know, when I was asked that question, you start getting into the analytics and you start talking numbers, and when you look at where David has been the last couple of years, he's getting him the football is a good thing, and he can make a lot of people miss that aren't blocked. He can make guys miss that are blocked, and for us, when you're able to get in that fourth quarter and you have the lead and you can hand the ball off to David Montgomery, that's a good thing. Unfortunately, we haven't been in that situation enough in the past 2 years, so it's limited him a little bit with carries. A lot of these big backs or these guys that get these heavier carries are getting them in the fourth quarter, and it's jumping their numbers up a little. So that 20 number was a part of that when you're winning in the fourth. But at the same time, if he's running the ball well and we're doing great with the O-line, let's get after it. And David and I have a phenomenal relationship, very, very close with him. I trust him, he trusts me, and I think that's why we're really looking forward to getting into this training camp.
Ryan, any goal related to that somewhat? In the final 6 regular season games last year, there was an uptick in offensive production overall. I'm curious, as you zoomed out and then zoomed in, really, how did you interpret that and contextualize that as something that could carry over in
that's a good
2021?
Dan, I think when you say that, the first thing I think of was our O-line really coming together. I thought our O-line really stepped up. It kind of settled in, and Matt doing his thing, and Juan and those guys, and Bill, and I just feel like we really got settled in as an offense, specifically with the O-line.
Man, who are some of the guys you're going to be looking at to replace Anthony in the offense? And can Allen, with his versatility, help you out there too?
Yeah, the competition that we brought in at the wide receiver position is really good. You think of a guy like Marquise Goodwin, who we brought in, and Demir Bird, and obviously having Ridley and Wim still here, and A-Rob and Mooney, and there's a lot of depth. I mean, you got other guys I didn't mention that are on our roster that are going to completely compete and go out there, and then what we got to do is let them do their thing and just kind of see where they're at. But I think one of the things is we're going to feel a little bit of a difference there at that position and that group, and it starts with those guys.
A little bit of a difference.
I think all your training camps have felt really different, where you come in that first year kind of trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
You come in 2019 with the guys talking about the Super Bowl. But where are you at mindset right now, and what do you feel is the bar for this team?
Yeah. So what I'm doing personally for myself, and what our message is this year for our team is about being in the moment right now. And so I can get to that a million different ways by my message with the team. But what I mean is, you're right. In 2018, there was no one knew what they didn't know, and we had some success. We made it to the playoffs, won a division. Came in the next year, like you said, had some higher expectations. Didn't do well. And so every year that goes by, and then you start worrying about, how's it going to go this year? If we just do what we're supposed to do right now and not worry about what happened in the past, let's not worry about what could happen in the future, then I think with what we've built here, from Ryan bringing in the type of players that we have, whether it's physically or mentally, bringing this group together, building this culture, I think we're in a really good place right now to handle a lot of different things, success and failure. And with that now we feel really good that, hey, let's go play games, let's go win football games, and just let the chips fall where they may. But we're not focused about 18, 12-4, won the North, or last year 8-8, lost in the playoffs. The year before that 8-8. This is completely new for us, and we have a great opportunity. We feel like we have a great roster and good people, and now it's our job as coaches to develop them.
Does it feel new to you in part because of the quarterback change? I mean, that's the most important visible position. It's totally revamped from where you were the last 3 years.
Yeah, the room being completely different is a fair question. Does it feel different? I wouldn't say it's only because of that. I do think right now, anybody that you ask that has come through our building in the last 4 months, there's a really positive vibe that's going through our building right now. It's healthy. And the guys, it's because of the players. They put in the work. They're motivated in a good way. And I think they're confident. I think there's a trust in everybody, players to coaches, coaches to players. And so now there's an excitement. But we're in the middle. We're in day one of training camp, and we know we got a lot of dog days ahead of us.
Is the contract status for you guys a factor in the timing of any decisions you make with Justin Fields?
About our own contracts?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, what's best for this organization, always.
Ryan, in January, obviously George and Ted expressed their trust and confidence in you guys to keep going with this thing. What's your understanding of what you need to do this season to retain their belief in you?
Yeah, I think just keeping it very simple, like a lot of teams, owners, and head coaches in this league and general managers is right now you got to win, and that's keeping it really simple. So that's every team's goal every year is to do that. We want to do it the right way, and we're extremely motivated in a good way in the fact that these are challenges. Like we look forward to these, and we know that we have support from them, and that's number one. We have support from them, and now it's just a matter of putting it all together with the players and coaches.
Matt said this the other day, and I thought it was a good point. There's a calmness right now that we just feel, and I think it's because of our communication with ownership, with Ted, throughout our staff. We've been together long enough. There's a calmness along with an excitement going into the season.
You mentioned a little bit of change at the wide receiver position a few minutes ago. Obviously, Goodwin and Bird bring a ton of speed, but neither has been totally consistent throughout their career. So with that emphasis on speed, does that suggest an adjustment or any change in offensive philosophy or your passing game play?
No, not necessarily. I don't think. A lot of us see what speed can do in this league. I know it can definitely scare a lot of defensive coordinators when you have that, because it can open up the run game too, because you got to play deeper. But at the same point in time, those are two guys that we just talked about too that have had a really good offseason that we understand we're going to have a plan for and let them go compete. But that's one part of it. The other part of it would be the tight ends too that we really didn't talk about. So I think putting all those guys together and just us continuing to build and find that identity that we want and we know we want, they can help us with that.
Are you or Ryan concerned that they're obviously both small? Tariq, if he lines up out there, is small. Mooney's not big. Are you concerned you're a little undersized at the position now?
I'm not. No.
I think it balances out with A-Rob and with Ridley and with Wims. We got some balance in that room, but you throw in the 40 times of those guys, and these are 40 times that show up on the field with Goodwin and Bird and Mooney. Those guys can fly, and I think it opens things up for us.
Ryan, Matt was talking about how just keep it simple, just win, and maybe that pressure takes care of itself. During the offseason, how did you balance the win-now mentality with maybe a 3-year window or a 5-year window or other long-term ways that you would build a team?
It's easy for me, Pat, when you ask me that question. I'm always thinking about the long-term health of this team and this franchise, and that's my responsibility to always think long-term. And we have a lot of those discussions because sometimes it is natural to kind of hone in on this myopic vision. But for me, it's easy to think long-term as we make these plans. And that was the trade the other day, accumulating draft picks. Like that, it all goes into our bigger plan to make this thing successful long-term. So.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Defensively, Khalil's pressure rate has dropped off each year in the past 3 years. What do you envision seeing from him this season get back to that form?
Yeah, I think, Stacy, for us is we're looking into that, and that's important because you think about Khalil when he got here that very first game and went to Green Bay and the things that he did, and that was pretty much off the charts for that first game. But there's some things that we're looking at doing with him, and At the same point in time, we as a coaching staff got to see what are we doing. Him as a player, he's got to see how is it taking care of his body, or how can we help him do that? Is it practice? Is it in the game? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But then let's also remember this: teams, every coach that I talk to that goes up against Khalil Mack, they have a plan and 2 and 3 plans for him in every game. So we also know that, and I think for us, we have to know that as coaches and start scheming him and just kind of finding that happy medium there between the two to get more success.
Right, and I think Stacy too, some of the pieces we've added will help him too. You know, as we add talent to that defense, it's going to help us get creative with him.
Brian, just to confirm, and I'm sorry if you already indicated, is Eddie Goldman at camp?
So they're reporting as we speak, so I don't know who's here, who's not here just yet. So we'll know hopefully here in a couple hours.
The expectation is he'll practice this week.
Exactly. Yeah.
And is there anything about the struggles that you've gone through the last couple of years that have been good for you, that has almost given you more confidence because you've survived those things and weathered those things, and you get another season?
Yeah, I think Jason, probably some of that calm that he was just talking about, going through the experiences that I've been through with this team and this organization, has given me the trust in these players, and hopefully them the trust in me, that we've been through a lot. And now I've failed in a lot of different ways in my first 3 years here as a head coach, meaning the fact that I shouldn't say fail, but I've learned a lot of different things. And so for me, those setbacks or those failures or those chances for me to learn, I'm trying to make myself better and learn from those this year so that I can be the best coach I can be to help our team. And I think that's where Ryan and I, as we go through the highs and lows, we help each other out that way. And then the players are awesome. They're great with, hey, coach, we got your back, or all of our coaches, not just me. And we do it together. And I think that's the fun part, is that now it's a challenge to be able to go into this season and really look forward to what's ahead of us.
As you watched
I
Andy,
don't know if that's the right word for it, but do you feel more comfortable as a coach after going through those
Yeah,
things?
I feel really comfortable. I've learned a lot. And when I say that, it's not just whether it's on game day or whether it's throughout the week or it's in the off season or it's running a meeting. Sometimes it's just how you speak to the players in a team meeting. Sometimes that changes. And that's where I grow and where I learn, and I ask questions in the off season. How can I get better so that these guys know that I'm doing everything I can on my part to improve, and it's not just always the player's fault.
Couple more guys, couple more work. As you watched Andy work through the spring, as you watched him assimilate here, what left an impression on you about his ability to just kind of handle everything that he's got to handle right now?
You can feel his experience, Dan, and you can feel his confidence. He's really confident, and we talk about that inner confidence. Andy has that, and just Matt referred to how he operates in the huddle, how he is around the building. He's a confident guy, because I think the experiences that he has, and I think our players feed off that.
He has a reputation as being low maintenance. Do you feel that immediately with him?
Yeah, he's just one of those. He's just easy to communicate with and talk with, and he's just a professional that's seen a lot of different things throughout his time in the league.
Ryan, with Trufant, what did you look for to see whether he had some juice left in his legs? And also with Danny Trevathan, another guy who's getting a little bit older, what are you going to look for
Sure.
to make sure they're fresh?
Yeah, with Trufant, we've studied him a lot over the years, from Atlanta to Detroit. And I think unfortunately last year there was some soft tissue stuff that came up with hamstrings. So, we're getting ahead of that right now with our staff, trying to stay the head of the curve on that. But Trufant, we still feel has the stickiness to play man coverage, the suddenness, all those things. So it'll be good to see it all play out this camp. And there'll be good competition there. I know we talked about Vildor. And then the other
With Trevathan, he got off to such a slow start last year. Were there any changes this offseason for him to?
I personally haven't seen Trevathan, but some of our staff members have, and I heard he looks awesome right now. So I'm excited. I know he's been training in California, and everything that I've heard is he's come ready to go. So we're fired up about that.
With play calling, taking that back over and working with him, I'm curious, what's that going to be like for you in terms of experimenting, connecting with him this camp, in terms of getting those play calls that he wants ready?
Yeah, probably just making sure, Adam, that understanding the semantics of how the play comes in, number one, that's how that starts. But then really just finding out, hey, in this situation, let's talk through this type of play call, or how do you like it, when the play's coming in, do you like the formation first, or do you like the play first, before the formation? So just little things like that. But other than that, it's like riding a bike for all of us, and Bill goes ahead in practice, and he's the one with the walkie-talkie calling it in the headset. But I think, just like all the quarterbacks that you deal with, they all pretty much understand that the way the play comes in, and just building that relationship of what types of plays and how they're coming in.
A lot of your focus is obviously going to be on offense, but what would be a successful training camp for your defense? What do you want to see from that side of the ball in the next 6 weeks?
A ton of of takeaways and turnovers, just a ton of them. Like everywhere you look, I want that ball coming out. I want fumbles, interceptions, tip passes. I mean, when they go to bed at night, just think about intercepting the football, stripping that football, be like crazy about it. Everywhere you go, we have to get takeaways this year. And I think we got a lot of guys that are ready for it. I know Sean, Coach Desai, is really excited to do some emphasis drills with that. And but it's we went through that a few years ago, and you could see what that can do. I mean, that can really help out. So, but we as coaches, we got to talk about it. You can't just go out and expect it to happen. So that's what I know Sean has a plan for.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thanks,
see you.
guys. Good seeing you.
See you.